Don't say fuck all bugger.
Slurp your drinks.
Yeah.
Dank food, drink, hack, combos. That's what it's like to
Let's have tubes.
Spooky.
Spooky music.
Look at it in its homosexual colours of spookiness. It goes from cyan to pink.
I wanted a metal one, but bouncy.
That's it. I mean, for plastic, it's pretty flexible.
Good evening and welcome to another Fortean Words on this spooky Halloween night.
I'm not going to be interrupting you at all times. I will be.
You've got me and Hobbit on the same mic tonight.
Oh, I was hoping the audience would have figured that out eventually. It'd be like, how is it that Hobbit sounds less loud?
I think everyone's out trick or treating because no one's in the chat.
Yeah, Interdimensional Lizard said he was going to go out trick or treating. He told me he got an outfit ready. He showed me it. It's pretty cool actually. It was a white robe.
Yeah.
And it's got this pointy hat on it. And he's got he's dressed up as...
Remind me to kick your ass, boy.
He's dressed up as the new Catholic mascot, Lucy. So he's got the flaming cross as well.
Is he dressed up as Cartman?
Yeah. Oh, you've seen his outfit, have you?
Yeah, when Cartman dressed up as a ghost.
Yeah, well, I mean, it worked. Chef was absolutely terrified of Cartman then.
Yeah. Remind me to kick your ass, boy. Right, so here we are. It's the spooky spooktacular, the Treehouse of Hobbit 5.
Whoa.
It's that time of year. That time of year again.
Things are coming up, Millhouse.
I wish I could do the Vincent Price speech from Thriller. I don't know the words.
The only one will be wearing a Diddy outfit this year.
Baby oil not included.
Yeah, 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
1,000 bottles of baby oil, 1,000 bottles of baby oil. You take one down, you slip and fall. Now you got P. Diddler's bum thing in your bum.
Did you enjoy our P. Diddler coverage last
It's terrible
week?
outfit.
It was a hard-hitting, penetrative deep dive into the seedy underbelly of P. Diddler's sexcapades. Also, he diddled Justin Timberlake in a bungalow. Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber.
Oh, I want to play solitaire.
Yeah, it's got spooky solitaire now, look.
Oh, has it got spiders on it?
No, it's got pumpkins and...
Right, you got a three of clubs that... Ah, no, you only... No, that's... spades.
Yeah.
Spooky two of spades!
Hobbit's just giving away all the secrets.
Has anyone had any trick or treaters yet come round knocking the door?
Yep.
You have?
No?
What?
Have you had any
Yeah.
yet?
You got some sweets ready to give the children?
We just have my missus' friend brought her daughter around.
Nobody sets foot at my place. I mean, they become part of the decorations. I've got some rusty spikes.
You have to put a sign out these days.
Yeah, we saw a sign, didn't we?
Like a
Actually, we
pumpkin.
did, yeah. But it's one that seems to deter trick-or-treaters. Maybe we could, I pictured sorts of 1,000
That would just encourage...
I don't know where the picture came from.
Is it one that's worth putting up on stream? Is it one we can describe it for our radio audience?
It's someone's house and someone had written nonce on the side of it in paint.
And then an arrow pointing to his front door.
Yeah.
In case you weren't sure who the nonce was. Or if nonce was just like an empty statement, like when Banksy draws taxes or capitalism on the wall.
Oh, Banksy, right there, isn't it? With the proletariat.
Oh,
It's
Banksy, now there's spooky.
It's just a stencil, I mean.
It's funny.
I'll
Anyone
put
Banksy's
some
can do
going on for
campus
years.
grass out.
If Banksy's going on for years, yet no one will dox him. It's weird, isn't it?
Maybe because most people don't give a shit. And it's only like idiots who like it and bang on about it. It's actually not that clever all, is it?
That's strange. I never thought Ian's voice.
There was one in Reading.
I'm getting to see the behind.
There was one in Reading, and it got vandalised.
But look at that. Ian's voice is going right into the red.
Yeah.
What if you've reduced desktop audio by 5?
Am I loud?
No, I don't want to do
No,
that.
you're not loud. You're not clipping, and that's what. Well, I mean, you just have to wait and see if the audience says if you're clipping.
Oh, it's always the same. It just sounds like a lispy queer, doesn't he? That's the only problem.
Yeah, Ian's got this microphone.
I thought I sorted that out.
Well, yeah, you have sorted out, but then occasionally it goes, oh, you know what, I'll put a high-pass filter on. No, sorry, a low-pass filter. And then it cuts out the high end and whatever you're saying. And then it just...
That's tech talk. It's going over my head.
Well, it's like...
But one thing, though, I am on echo still at your end.
Oh, you will do, because...
I'm on echo at your end.
I'm having to play it through the amp. Is that better?
I mean...
Oh, I can't hear it.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
that's better.
No, that's better, yeah.
That's as low as I can do it.
I mean, unless you're... Oh, no, we can't split the headphones into two, have we? We haven't got 2 pairs of headphones.
I've got 2 pairs of headphones. There we go.
No, otherwise...
I
don't have a proper mic with, pair of tights stretched over the front,
So, should we do some spooky stories? Should we get into this?
Oh, do we want to talk about spirits?
Did anyone go trick-or-treating in their youth when they were younger? Does anyone actually do that?
No, I used to do
other people did.
Bonfire night, but I mean Halloween's an American thing, so that's foreign muck.
Actually, it's not.
Well,
well
they've always come round, as I remember.
Because we used to do it with turnips.
I just never got involved.
Yeah.
No, I did apple bobbing though. In school, they did apple bobbing for Halloween, which was putting your head in a bowl of water. That was all right.
They do bobbing for something at P. Diddler's house.
No, never actually went.
Yeah, they weren't bobbing for apples, but they definitely were bobbing.
What did he have? Did he have children coming round to the door as well?
Yeah, he did actually. Justin Bieber. Used to frequent his place a lot.
Yeah, spooky.
Very spooky.
And he used to end up covered in ectoplasm.
He got fiddled with.
It got.
Yeah. It was like a scene from The Exorcist.
Yeah. He looked like a plaster of radio.
The Sexorcist. The Exorgiz.
Yeah.
But has anyone seen Salem's Lot? The new film, Salem's Lot. Anyone seen that? No.
Nothing's. I don't think anything's going to match the David Soul one because that was really good.
Well, I don't think I've actually seen that, but I thought the new one was all right. It was a bit of a comedy, but it got panned by the critics. But I saw it the other week, and it wasn't too bad. So it's worth a look. You've got nothing better to do.
Just you put it on your wrist. And
the book was good.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's quite nifty.
Yeah, I never read the book.
It was like your microphone cable cap. I get to see Hemi set up, you see, so I'm curious as to know why have you got that thing on your boom.
But I don't know. So have you actually seen it then? Have you the new one, Ian?
I did. It was last week I saw it. Yeah, I thought it was all right. It's worth a look. It's not amazing, but the critics panned it. But I thought it was all right. It's quite light-hearted.
It's about 10 years old. The Rob Lowe one. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, there is a more recent one. I've not seen, and I've only seen clips of the original. To be honest, I'm not.
Oh, the original is well worth it, because you know the bit where the kids spoilers of a 50-year-old TV show. The kids at the window knocking on the window to speak to his mum. Yeah. Oh, that bit that bit is terrifying.
But they recreate they redo that. They redo that in this version. But in that original one, to create that, he was actually on a forklift truck. Is how they created the illusion of going up and down like that. So there's a bit of trivia for you. It's all CGI now. Yeah. I don't know what horror films they're on.
Someone's
I don't know what horror films are on tonight.
But more than that, you've got these buttons you can press. So I'm pressing the confetti thing, and then I'm just sitting on like the studio figure, all the confetti coming up. Look at that! Just over and over. People are so happy with it.
It's usually a horror film on, isn't it, on TV? So I'll check it out later.
I'll re-up.
Maybe pure 3D.
Do you watch any of the streaming channels? Because I've redone my thing for Shudder. I want to watch that Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, have you not seen it?
No.
It's really good.
No, I've not. I'm unfamiliar. It does look good actually. That I did mean to see that, but
I don't want to give any spoilers. But
my diary's too full.
It's like a 1970s talk show, and they have some spooky guests on, and they've got a guy who's definitely not James Randi on it, who's being all skeptical.
It's like, I think it's like, imagine like a big film version of Ghostwatch. You seen someone was talking about Ghostwatch in the paper the other again. Got mentioned again.
Yeah.
You seen Ghostwatch?
No, I've seen a fair bit of it. Ghostwatch. I've seen. I don't think I've seen it all the way through.
Mm.
Parkinson, and then
maybe we should watch it on Rumble or something.
Sarah
you
Green.
won't get copyright struck.
Sarah Green, and who else? Craig Charles.
Rumble is not available in France because.
But no, it's obviously.
Oh, Sarah Green and Mike. What's his name? Yeah.
And what's his name was in it? Lister, weren't he? Craig Charles was the Raven, weren't he?
When you watch it, it's obviously a mockumentary. You can tell.
Yeah, but I was like 12 when I was.
Did you know they did one during the 70s as well? It was about colonising space or something. It's called something 3 or 7, I think. You'll find.
Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with that one. The thing with Ghostwatch, someone topped themselves after seeing it, didn't they? They thought it was real, and they thought their house was haunted, and they topped themselves. But the person had mental problems who did it. But yeah, but you know.
I remember I was like 12 at the time, being a friend watching it, and my mum was watching it downstairs, and I kept going down to her saying, "Is this real? Is this real?"
No, I didn't see it at the time, but I've seen plenty of reviews of it on YouTube. So yeah, it's not worth a look. Yeah, we could do a watch along one night.
There's a documentary called Alternative 3, and that's about going to space.
Alright.
Yeah.
And what happens?
Isn't it some sort of anniversary for Ghostwatch? Like 30th or something?
Yeah, 92, I think it was, wasn't it? So 92. Was it 32? 32nd anniversary. Yeah. Yeah, so that it was based really on the Enfield case, wasn't it? That's what Ghostwatch was based around.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, when they're outside, it really does look like a set, doesn't it? I don't know how anybody was fooled by it.
But even the people, when you're talking and that, they're actors. You can tell that they're acting. The people they have on there, you can tell when someone's an actor, can't you? You can't recreate a real person on TV.
You watched any horror films like me?
So people who thought that was real, well, as I said, just Salem's Lot. I don't think I've seen anything else. I'll have a look on tonight, see what's on.
I can't remember what it's called.
Maybe Jaws 3D, perhaps.
Where a bloke gets paralysed and they implant a chip into him to make him walk again, and the chip's got like AI.
Oh, I've seen that. Is that the one which takes over his body when he's in combat? Is that called Upgrade?
That's the one. Yeah. I watched that recently.
RoboCop.
That sounds more science fiction.
Yeah.
There's
that's more science fiction than horror, is it not?
No.
Well, it's kind of at the end it's horror. Well, the way it ends up is horror.
Now, there is another horror film which may confuse people because the title of it is called RoboCop, and it was released in 2014. And it's got nothing to do with RoboCop of the original series. But you see, there's this horrible bit in it, and I had to leave the cinema at the time. I might have been a bit stoned.
Well, that's an actual like thing of like show not tell. Instead of like, because I think there's a throwaway line in one of the RoboCops where he says, "There's not enough of you to put on a butcher's block or something," isn't there? Whereas RoboCop the remake, they have to show you,
don't they? It was showing explicit detail, but it was more than that. It was the two things in that film which I found deeply unsettling, and why I call it a horror film. One is when they pull apart his coffin, showing like the remains of his body, and it's absolutely horrifying because you see just like, well, it's very graphic. And then the other part of it is he's being all drugged up and he's in a combat trial, and he thinks he's in control of his body, but it's actually the computers take control of him. So effectively he's a robot, but I think the idea is that it's for PR reasons. If they got a human face in it, people are more accepting of it. And it's just that thing where they've taken someone, they've desecrated his corpse, and they've turned him into Frankenstein's monster, basically. But he's still got memories of his past life, so he's tormented by a living undeath. And they can't kill him because it's like, well, you know, he's put a lot of money into this walking coffin. So, no. Oh, speaking of walking coffins, now somebody's...
In the original...
Twitter recently... Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar
we did.
Warhammer 40,000, but there's Space Marines in it. And being as that Space Marines, their job is to go into hazardous environments and have a good old fight, occasionally they get crippled beyond repair. And when that happens, they're interred into a walking coffin called a dreadnought, where just like the corpse, well, I say the corpse, you know, it's a life support system for a spinal cord in their skull. And that way they're still able to fight. Now, somebody with problem glasses and who's fat and ugly on Twitter said, "Oh, I've made a Space Marine wheelchair." And two things: the Space Marine was fat, and secondly, there's already like a thing for disabled Space Marines. It's called being interred in a dreadnought chassis. So it's like, well, okay, you've not read any of the law, so you're being disrespectful to. Like, nearly 40 years of law now. No, I think it came out in 1988. And secondly, no, you're wrong. You don't have a fat Space Marine unless it's like one that's been corrupted by the plague chaos. So it's all fecund and corpulent. But yeah, no, I was just...
Those Space Marines and their diet of corn syrup.
Yeah, you know, you can't get enough of the corn syrup and corpse starch. It's just so Moorish.
You'll have a space ring after your all-you-can-eat Chinese tonight.
Yeah. You might need an augmetic anus after that.
Or belly wheels.
Yeah.
Belly wheels. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's from Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
The fatties in it were a lot more dangerous than fatties in our world.
Well, they might land on you.
Well, the thing about fatties in the world of Judge Dredd is they're still quite ambulatory, whereas fatties here want you to do everything for them. Then again, I suppose it was the same with fatties in Judge Dredd. They said, what was it, that they were terrorising people for more dinners and second helpings?
Right, we're going to do some ghost stories then.
Spooky ghost stories. Woo.
Spooky ghost time.
Do it.
You're going to do something from the ghost book, are you?
Yeah, where is it? You
just put it down there.
Oh, there we go. Right, so let's have a look. Let's just open it at random. And, I saw an illustration there. Let's go back to the illustration. Now, the audience...
They're quite good, the illustrations, though.
The audience will really appreciate this. What it is you've got some goblins, and they're wearing plate mail. And his leg is kind of dissolved into the blanket on the bed. There's a man who's terrified. He's got one eye peeking out of the bed. He's got a pajama cap on as well. There's a decapitated woman's head, and it looks like the arteries and the vessels are growing roots into the bed, and the hair's weaving. And then there's a man who's looking intently at a bone, but it's hollow. It looks a bit like a pipe. So anyway, Eastern England, Lincolnshire, Cambridgeshire, Norfolk, Suffolk.
You want to get onto the stories? That's the intro page.
Yeah, well, we've got an illustration. So here's a story from Bircham and Newton, which is in Norfolk. Norfolk. The wartime airfield, which is owned by the Construction Industry Training Board, has a phantom sports car full of laughing airmen, which races across the base to crash into the back of a hangar. The squash court is haunted by the ghosts of 3 keen players killed when their Avro Anson bomber crashed close by. Another 2 phantom sportsmen have been seen engaged in a fencing contest to the death and beyond. Woo!
Oh, I know this. I know this. I use my +1 sword on the people of Norfolk.
There we go.
Oh, does anybody remember Most Haunted when they did that airfield in Norfolk? And what's his name? Mary Loves Dick. What's his name? Derek Akora's going. I'm getting somebody. Derek Border. Douglas Bedder. It's fucking Douglas Bader, you cunt. Everybody knows it is.
My favourite one is like I just talked to my spirit guide. He's an Indian, Native American
Called Sam.
Yeah, Sam. It's a very Native American name, is Sam.
Yeah.
Mm. The great eagle spirit had come to tell me, you, Derek Okora, that my name is Sam.
Number one.
And he has said that you must go to the back of the CVS for a vision quest after drinking the Listerine.
How much do you want?
That'll do. There we go.
Get it down your neck.
Come on then, one of you lot. What you got?
Right, okay, then what about... well, I've got something from the letters page in Viz. This month, the Halloween actual letters page. Let's have a look at this one.
Can I interrupt you? Is it the guy who says...
Yep, let's just have a look then.
Imagine if the ritual of carving a pumpkin on Halloween instead was shoving a pumpkin up your bum. I don't like the idea of that. Oh, let's keep to carving pumpkins.
No, my favourite one, my favourite letters ever is tell you what these lesbians need, a bloody good shagging, that's what.
my favourite is a perennial favourite of this. It's like, I missed the publication where you republished the photo of the bloke kissing the bird's eyes. Could you post it for me again so I could see it?
Oh, and then it's the picture of Brillo dancing with that bird, isn't it?
Is it?
Andrew McNeil is the other one. Is the other one they like.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like the one of the bloke kissing the bird's ass.
Yeah.
I like how
my favourite was...
I like how the letters answer each other's letters in the same issue.
It's brilliant. How do they know how to do that? Incredible.
My favourite is the letter about Sue Barker looking forward to watching the men's semis when most women's tennis players are raging leathers and wouldn't be the slightest bit interested in Andy Murray's party.
Sue Barker,
and that's my favourite because
she went out with Cliff, didn't she? It was extremely
but that's my
extra sexual.
That's my favourite because I wrote it. Right. Anyway,
extra sexual.
I wrote it and they published it.
I think P. Diddler might be.
Okay, let's read this letter then. Okay, here we go.
He's a baby oil sexual, isn't he?
Well, that's why I'm saying extra. You want an extra bit of sex with the baby oil.
I was being posh, Hobbit. Extra sexual.
Oh, extra sexual, yes, yeah. But extra.
Okay, let's do the letter then.
Go on then.
Anyway, I've read that there is a type of ghost called a succubus which has sexual intercourse with men during their sleep. After an enormous bust-up with my missus, I'm in the spare room for the foreseeable future, and I wonder if there are any succubuses out there in the Derby area, and if so, would they care to come round and haunt my house? I'm up for it any night. Frank Bausch, Derby. So that's the what we got there.
Actually,
I didn't like that one.
Is succubi.
Is it? Because sometimes it isn't, is it?
Is this one of the things where people say, like, hey, now here's something that's spooky. Why is it that the singular of the horse's appendage is called a hoof, and then the plural of it is hooves, but a singular roof is a roof, but not roofs, it's roofs.
I thought it was.
Are you sure it's not Succupodia?
No, the plural of roofs is roofs. It's not roofs.
Oh, okay then.
Even though I've pronounced it as roofs, but then you're not supposed to pronounce it as roofs because it's
roofs.
Hoof and hooves, roof and roofs.
Roofs.
It's roofs.
Like dwarf and dwarves.
Really?
And who says potato? No one says potato, so I don't know what the fuck
Dan Quayle did.
Song is about.
I think Americans do it when they're being... Oh,
Is Kamala the new Dan Quayle?
Oh, watch out! We'll get a copyright.
He's always laughing, isn't he? Whatever.
We'll get election interference.
Yeah, I've been put on the Twitter naughty step.
Have you? What for?
I don't know. They said we suspect you're going to do spam. It's like, what is? I'm going to say like I'm going to somehow sway the events of an election in the country I'm not interested
I would
in.
think.
Yeah.
You're not. I would think.
Democrat.
I would think you're on. I would think. Are you sure you're not on the naughty step for Yellowface?
Well, I thought I was going to be on the naughty step for using the word we're not allowed to use on Twitter. No, YouTube. It's one of my favourite words.
The R word.
It's very no. It begins with an N, ends with an R, and you don't want to call a black person it. It's neighbour. Neighbours.
Tiger.
That's it. So
Right then.
you know what I like with salad dressing is having some vinegar with it.
What are you on about?
Salad dressings. I thought that was a step. Are you stuck in the 70s?
Come on, Ian. It's your turn, isn't it?
Yeah. Tell us a spooky ghost story, Ian.
Spooky ghost.
Oh yeah, okay. Then how about a bit of trivia? Oh, a bit of trivia though. I haven't got a lot tonight, but a bit of trivia. Why haunted houses opened during the Great Depression? In the period leading up to the Great Depression, Halloween had become a time when young men could blow off steam and cause mischief. Sometimes they went too far. In 1933, parents were outraged when hundreds of teenage boys flipped over cars, sawed off telephone poles, and engaged in other acts of vandalism across the country. People began to refer to that year's holiday as Black Halloween, and similarly to the way they referred to the stock market crash 4 years earlier as Black Tuesday. Rather than banning the holiday, some demanded many communities began organising Halloween activities and haunted houses to keep restless would-be pranksters occupied. So there you go. That's why haunted houses were opened in that year.
Do you know, that reminded me of something.
There's a bit of Halloween trivia for you.
The Romans had a holiday called Saturnalia, and it would be like the slaves would wear crowns, and they get to like rule the roost for a day, and people saying, oh, it's similar to Christmas, and it's not really, but there was this other thing, I think it was called Christmas revelries, where drunks would go from door to door around about Christmas time, and you'd give them a penny or a drink so that they go away. Otherwise, they'd do a bit of violence or vandalism. And
or they would put dog shit in a paper bag, set it on fire, and leave it on someone's doorstep.
Yeah, they cause a bit of mischief. So
Devil's Night.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I just thought, some say Christmas, some say Bonfire Night, some say Halloween, but I think there's been a long tradition of people getting up to mischief. Now, I've seen a story here. This is from Morley in Norfolk, which is 13 miles southwest of Norwich. Whoa, spooky Norwich. Morley, Old Whore, attracted considerable attention in 1965.
Old Whore?
Yeah. When a ghost appeared on television. Old
Whore.
During an interview about a haunting here, a small bearded monk was seen by 23 people who wrote to Anglia Television asking about the identity of this figure. So there you go. There was a ghostly apparition of a monk who appeared when they were doing a talk about things. That rum's gone to my head.
Was it not just a normal bearded monk that happened to walk into frame?
No, spooky ghostly apparition. Whoa.
Spooky ghost monk.
Spooky ghost monk.
How about this one's from London, from the Gargoyle Club in Soho. One of the oldest clubs in Europe, the site of the Gargoyle Club once housed a musketry school belonging to Charles II, and at one time Nell Gwyn lived in the same building. Who is Nell Gwyn?
Don't know.
I feel like I should know that.
Sounds familiar, but I can't place her.
Yeah. Many people, including the owners, staff members and visitors, have reported unusual experiences. Dylan Thomas, the poet, told me he found the atmosphere fascinating, but he would never spend a night there on his own for anything in the world. Several witnesses have seen a woman dressed in period costume, a grey shadowy figure in a high-waisted dress with a large flowered hat, accompanied by an overpowering odour of gardenias. drifting rather than walking across the floor and disappearing at the lift shaft. A rather incongruous visitor among the strippers who work here. Others say they've seen a tall figure cowled and shrouded on the pavement near the Maid Street entrance to the club.
Peculiar.
Yeah.
So I got one.
You want to hear it?
Go for it.
Go on.
All right. So this
I've got one from America.
Oh yeah.
A letter from America.
Yeah, for a Halloween story.
Will you send back a ghost story from America?
Well, it's not a ghost story, it's a violent story.
Violence? Oh dear.
On Halloween of 2008, I was one of the many arseholes who dressed as Heath Ledger's Joker.
Oh.
In many ways, it was a fantastic night. With so many other Batman characters running around. It led to a lot of fun interactions with strangers around the city. But then, at one point, I made the stupid decision to cut through an alley alone on the way to the club and ran into a way too drunk guy dressed as Batman. I thought it was going to be just another fun altercation. But as I was about to pass him, he grabbed me by the neck and slapped up against the wall really hard. My head hit the bricks, luckily cushioned by the green wig, but the guy didn't let go. And he was squeezing my neck like he meant business. I can still remember the stench of beer on his breath. Growling some unintelligible drunken bullshit in my ear while I tried to wrestle his hands off me. Unfortunately, I'm weak as fuck, and this dude was jacked enough to keep me pinned pretty easily. Between the lack of blood...
And that man was Puff Daddy.
Yeah.
Is Puff Daddy like
Between the lack
version of Purple Aki? Does he go up to musicians let me feel your vocal cords? Hey yo, let me just feel you up there. How much can you sing?
Between the lack of blood to my brain and the amount of alcohol in that blood, I did something very stupid. I wrapped my arms around him and gasped out, "Harder, Daddy." Panicked.
I know.
I know.
Something about it. It was weird.
What was that thing where that guy said, if I ever got into a fighting situation, I'd just try and blow the guy? I can't remember. Was it a comedian or something that said that?
No, what you got to do is what Andre the Giant does. You stick your thumb up their bumhole. It takes the fight out of their sails.
Steve Irwin.
Andre the Giant's thumb would take plenty of wind days.
I'm not sure why it's referred to as
but
oil, but yeah, he would fight dirty.
But yeah, you're right about that. He tried that gambit, and it seems it worked because he said, "Look, I panicked, and I know it could have gone easily made things go worse. But luckily for me, the knucklehead reacted like I'd tried to bite his dick off. He dropped me like a sack of bricks, and I just about had the presence of mind to duck before he tried to kick my head in. He missed me, slammed his foot into the wall with a yell, then limped away down the alley with his dumb cape flapping behind him. I was just kind of laying there for a minute or so, just waiting for the world to stop spinning, before a really nice group of ladies came by and helped me up and took me to the gay bar down the road."
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a micro USB. That's not good. Now, I've got this is circling back to Derek Okora here, but I think we found the
Mary loves Dick.
Well, you know, he talks about Sam. I found the origins of Sam. So we got this Oh, and there we go. So that's 9 volts and then 1.5 amps. Oh, that's good, that is. Oh, and it's multicolour as well. Very fancy. So, yeah, this story here is the Adam and Eve pub in Norwich.
Would you Adam and Eve it?
Would you Adam and Eve it? There's a pub called that. So, the 14th century inn is situated near the modern law courts on St. Martin's Plain, where on the 1st of August, 1549, an army of peasants under Robert Kett engaged a royal detachment led by Lord Sheffield. At the height of the fighting, Lord Sheffield unwisely removed his helmet and waved it in the air to show himself to be a noble. A local butcher by the name of by the name of Falk, took the opportunity to strike a killing blow, and Lord Sheffield was taken to die at the inn, where his ghost, affectionately called Sam, now haunts. So we find out that Sam is in fact Lord Sheffield. Yet the Native American Lord Sheffield. Yeah. Falk himself came to grief soon afterwards. He was executed after the defeat of Kett's rebels at the Battle of Dussindale, where 3,000 peasants were slaughtered. So there's a peasant uprising, and that's where Sam, the spirit guide, came to be. So, Derek Acora, we found your spirit guide. He died at the Adam and Eve pub. Woo!
Would you Adam and Eve it? Ian, do you know where the Roebuck Hotel is?
No. Should I know where it is?
It's
it
in
doesn't
Reading.
ring a bell.
It's in Reading, apparently.
Roebuck Hotel? No.
Yeah.
Do you know, Dom? You used to live in Reading.
I'm not.
Have you heard of such a place?
I'm not familiar, no.
The Roebuck Hotel in Thames is haunted by mysterious footsteps which pace the corridors late at night, by unexplained hammering on doors, by disarrangement of furniture, and by opening locked doors and windows. Mr. Alex Wolfenden, the landlord, said in February 1966, "The house is definitely haunted. Nobody has actually seen a ghost, but there have been some very strange things happening, particularly in the Admiral's room, which is never occupied, and I certainly wouldn't sleep there myself. The Admiral, after whom the room is named, died at the Roebuck over 200 years ago in obscure circumstances, possibly being burned to death. There were 4 rooms in the oldest part of the ancient oak-beamed hotel that were permanently unoccupied because the landlord thought guests would be frightened by things that happened there."
Well, if it was in the 1960s, it probably doesn't exist anymore and has been turned.
Either that or it's called something else now, isn't it?
We've got a fun King Arthur
could
story.
Be, yeah.
It's got a spooky hen. So this is Pendragon Castle, which is in Cumbria. The castle takes its name from Uther Pendragon, a man of enormous stature and considerable evil, who used sorcery to seduce Igraine, the Duchess of Cornwall. Names have
dirty boy.
I mean, the Duchess of Cornwall, those names have changed since then, because now they're called, like, Camilla. And, you know, now Igraine, you don't really hear many women called Igraine these days.
That's a beautiful name.
Yeah, it's like migraine, but without the M.
Yeah.
Do you think she just nagged her husband to death? So, Igraine, she gave offspring, and the offspring of the union was King Arthur, or the founder of the rule of chivalry. Nobody was chivalrous before King Arthur. No. And we invented chivalry. Teach that, French bastards. Uther Pendragon died when his enemies...
The French have no word for entrepreneur.
That is... Yeah, I know that.
I know that because George Bush told me that.
Yeah. George Bush Jr. However, he is not the only ghost... so he was poisoned when the castle was besieged. So, however, he is not the only ghost haunting the scant ruins. There is also that of Sir Hugh de Morville, a later occupant and one of the knights who murdered St. Thomas at Canterbury, and a ghostly black hen that frustrates those who attempt to find treasure concealed in the castle by scrapping back all the soil they have laboriously excavated. No, it says scrapping.
Oh, right, it's spelled scrapping.
It's actually...
Yeah, that's scrapping.
Yeah, the chicken scraps all the soil they dig up around... So if you try and go there with a shovel, the evil black hen will...
a roan hen.
Well, it's an evil black hen, and it scraps all your work. That's what it says in the book.
Scraps.
And if it's published, we know it's a fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bonkers. What about this one then? This is another letter. It is said that ghosts often haunt places where traumatic events once occurred, in which case ghost hunters may want to visit Carriage C of GWR's 1510 service from Paddington to Penzance. Last week, someone deployed a weapons-grade gun and filled the carriage with an impenetrable brown cloud, which, thanks to a combination of jammed windows and broken air conditioning, traumatized passengers between Reading and Exeter Parkway. And that was from Sean Harris in Wimbledon. So there we go.
That was an attack which was second only to the sarin gas attacks in Japan during the 90s. With
yes.
The brother of Jesus Christ, I forget his name. Sharinko, Supreme Truth.
Michael, wasn't it?
Yeah, famous Japanese name.
Michael.
Yeah, brother of Jesus Christ.
No, Joseph. No, it's his father.
No,
God was the father.
I know he's got a name, but he had this anime done about how he could levitate
Steve.
and fly around. Yeah,
Darren.
No, God made Adam and Eve. God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
But anyway, the Japs have got this weird idea about Jesus that actually he didn't die, but it was his brother whose name was Toyoko Tsushiro. And he took his place in Jesus' stead and sacrificed himself on the cross so that Jesus could carry on living, who then retired to be a dojo master in Japan to the right old age of 85.
Did he have 4 turtles?
No, he wasn't Master Splinter.
Did he have 4 candles?
And anyway, you can't have the 4 turtles then because they're all named after Renaissance artists, and the Renaissance hadn't happened by then.
Oh, okay.
It was the olden days, you see.
Here's one we all remember. On the 5th of December 1872, the crew of the Dei Gratia sighted a 2-masted square rigger that was steering in a rather haphazard fashion. The signal was sent, but there was no reply from the silent vessel. The captain and the mate then rowed over to the ship and climbed aboard. You know this one, then. What they found
carry on.
Has since proved to be one of the greatest mysteries of the sea. The vessel was in the middle of the Atlantic, miles away from any land, but there was no one on board. When the men entered the captain's cabin, they found the table had been laid for breakfast, and there was half-eaten food on the plates. Everything on board seemed quite normal. There was nothing to explain where the crew had gone or why. To this day, no one has given a plausible answer to this maritime puzzle. Might be worth you doing an episode on the Mary Celestine.
Yeah, that's weird.
Do that. I can knock some of that.
Half-eaten on the table.
Yeah, but you've got to remember that this is not, it's not all. Conan Doyle actually wrote a version of this, which is where a lot of these myths come from. The food was hot and shit like that, but it wasn't.
Oh,
okay. But yeah, we'll cover it one week.
That's what I heard. I didn't know.
But I've got a model.
So is it a story?
I've got a model of it.
Here's one. We're back in Cumbria, and it's Corby Castle.
Corby in Cumbria.
Yeah, Corby in Cumbria. Corby. Well, you know Leeds Castle's near Dover.
Is that next to Leeds Castle in Kent?
Yeah. Well, you see the sign for Leeds Castle as you go to Dover.
Yeah.
So no one knows the identity of the radiant boy, the figure of a beautiful child dressed in dazzling white, surrounded by an aura of unnatural light. Those who see him enjoy wealth and power for a time before meeting violent ends. Lord Castlereagh? Lord Castlereagh? Castlereagh? How would you pronounce that word?
Castlereagh. I think that's Rhea. I think that'd be Rhea because it's it's Celtish, isn't it?
Like diarrhea.
Yeah, that's the way I'd pronounce that.
So Lord Castle Diarrhea saw the apparition before he became foreign minister. Later he became insane and took his own life in 1822. Maybe if he was being foreign minister, he realised how David Lammy was going to take his role. He had a vision of the future. Where David Lammy sat down and he says, I stand here before you, United Nations Council. Now that is spooky.
Yeah.
How can you stand before people when you sat down?
Ooh.
Oh.
How about a spooky item, a cursed item?
What about that time you spent £4,000 on Jaffa cakes in 1 month?
That's aliens. When the Hope Diamond was stolen from the eye of a Burmese Buddha in 1688, it seems a curse was made on all who would own it. Woo! The man who stole it, French explorer Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, went mad. Marie Antoinette, who wore it, died on the guillotine. Lord Francis Hope, who acquired the diamond in 1830, gave it to his wife. She left him and died in poverty. How's that a curse on him?
Oh, you'll be cursed. You watch out.
Oh, your wife will die.
Yeah, the nagging wife will die, and you'll be free of her.
You'll be sorry.
Yeah.
15 other owners of the Hope Diamond have died in mysterious circumstances. Even skeptics admit that these deaths imply something far greater than mere coincidence.
There's definitely got to be cursed objects, right? What about the Solitude medallion?
Yeah.
Well, I'll lean closer to the microphone and explain this. So, now, talismans have existed throughout the centuries, and they probably are prehistoric. But there's a modern talisman known as the Solitude medallion, which is carved out of clay. And anyone who wears it is cursed to have strange things befall them, including incest,
Giving cocaine to children.
Yeah, crack cocaine usage whilst being cuckolded. And that's caught, by the way, that is a legal ruling. The judge says you are a cuckold, Mr. Rakita, who wore the Solitude medallion.
And scoffed at its power.
And there's other people who've worn the Solitude medallion as well. It's like, we can actually just do a series about the Solitude medallion, which is a living totem of evil, with powers from the Quickiverse, I think it's called. But that means I'd have to read about Chris Channel. I don't want to.
Yeah, no one wants to do that.
No, quite a lot of people want to do it. There's like an entire website to it. You know the Quickie.
I don't know anything about Chris Channel. I know less about you than you about Chris Channel.
So there's a website called the Quickipedia, which is all about Kristen Weston Chandler. I think that's why it's called it was CWC Wiki, which then got called the Quickie Wiki.
Oh, quick, because it's
CWC. Yeah. But anyway, the Solitude medallion is a cursed item.
I think I might be able to explain this one. Mary Duchess of Bedford boarded her gypsy moth on an aeroplane on the 22nd of March 1937 for what was to be her last flight. She had said she was going for a short 130-kilometre, 80-mile round trip, and she hoped to be back in time for dinner. Smoke me a kipper. By midnight, she had still not returned, and a massive search was mounted. No accidents were reported, no wreckage was found, and there was no reason why Mary would want to disappear of her own accord. No one knew how or why the Duchess had vanished into the thin air, but she was never seen again.
Oh, it is one. So people will remember this from the Orvis advert, directed by Ridley Scott. Shaftesbury. Oh, you know who sung about Shaftesbury? Bill Hicks.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ralph McTell, but that was the streets of London, weren't it?
So Bill Hicks did the song saying, "No one knows what it's like to be a dustbin in Shaftesbury." Yeah. It's talking about reading like the news as like hooligans vandalise bins in Shaftesbury. So Shaftesbury, which is Dorset, picturesque Gold Hill, is haunted by the cortege of King Edward the Martyr, who was killed at Corfe Castle in...
Is he still alive, King Edward the Martyr?
He was killed at Corfe Castle in 978. Ooh. So there's the clues there.
Corfe Castle.
The Grosvenor Hotel, I've been
That's the answer.
Has a grey lady and
Grosvenor.
A ghostly monk. Another appears in the ruins of the abbey.
Was the monk shagging a nun? Because they're always shagging nuns, those dirty old monks, aren't they?
They probably are. I mean, well, that's how you keep your vow of chastity, right? You keep it in the...
It don't count if you
that's
shag
why the
a monk or a nun.
If nuns and monks are there for one another...
That's why the nuns...
That's where we get the term nepotism.
That's why the nun wears the soap.
Yeah. And the monks, polish their bishops'
finger.
Yeah.
What's that word?
The nuns wear the soap and the monks polish their bishop.
A mitre?
Mitre's the hat, isn't it?
It's a staff.
Yeah.
A crook.
The staff of Ra.
It's a crook. They use it to pull the sheep in.
A few miles north of Blackburn, on the way to Preston, stands medieval Samlesbury Old Hall with its two ghost lovers. One is a lady in white who is said to have been the daughter of a previous owner of Samlesbury Hall, and the other a knight who loved her. The girl's brother slew the knight, so goes the story, and the ghost of the lovers are said to be occasionally in the vicinity of the murder, hovering above the present level of the ground.
Now here's a story, right? And it comes from West Sussex, which means the people of... if you just translate Sussex into German, it would be Saxony. These are the Saxon people. So West Saxony. And it comes from the town of Cuckfield. Geranium Jane is the resident ghost in the King's Head. So called because she was killed when a pot of geraniums fell on her head. Rumour had it that this was no accident, and that she was carrying the child of the proprietor at the time. In support of this thesis, the occasion of her appearances to male members of the staff indulging in extramarital adventures. What? In support of this thesis is the occasion of appearances to male members of the staff indulging in extramarital adventures. That sentence doesn't make much sense. I know what they're trying to allude here is they're saying Geranium Jane appears if men have been cheating, but it's just the way it's written. There's the last sort of bit there.
To the sport of this thesis is the occasion of her appearances to male members of the staff indulging in extramarital adventures. That's a bit long-winded.
It doesn't read very well.
How about this one then? The old White Hart Inn has an haunted attic where a mummified baby's arm was once found. There is a story, too, of an elderly maid who committed suicide here in the early 1900s. A few years ago, the licensee heard curious noises and cries which appeared to come from the attic, and when he investigated, he found the imprint of a tiny hand on the dust-covered table in the attic. He had heard the noises before and thought there must be a logical explanation, but after his visit... What? There's a baby living up there. But after his visit, bit of baby in attic. Got a baby in attic. But after his visit, why didn't he use baby sham to get baby to come out?
Give it a bit of baby.
He had heard the noises. But after his visit to the attic and the evidence of a former licensee's wife who woke up one night to find a white form standing by her bed. And covered her. I don't know if that form covered in ectoplasm. Maybe he had second thoughts about the place not being haunted.
That's reminded me of a joke I really hate now, and it's bloody annoying. Also, by the way, you know how that's like suspended there?
Yeah.
That hook's come off.
Yeah, no, they always fall off.
If I was to touch it now, it's going to be really noisy and it's going to upset the audience. But can we do it?
Yeah. There we go.
Hey, there we go.
Did you hear that, Ian?
You want to know why? What was it?
Oh, we put the microphone back on its bungee cradle.
Yeah.
So.
Right, it fell off. Did it?
There was this really shit joke. I think it was on Shooting Stars, and Vic Reeves. Yeah, that's just there. And Vic Reeves had this thing where he was doing this Viz Top Tips, but pretending it was his joke, and it's like, don't you just hate it when flies fly around your head? Well, I've invented this fly trap. So what I do is I put this hat on, and it was just a stupid northern hat, which a northern monkey would wear. And I put a dog dirt in the cleft of my hat, and that way the flies, instead of going to my face, go up to the hat instead. And I don't like.
He made a book. He made a book about it with his silly invention things. He made a book.
They did the Top Tips TV series, didn't they?
Yeah, I know, and they managed to make it.
There was a video, wasn't it? It was straight to video thing, wasn't it?
Yes, because
Vic and Bob did Top Tip.
It was just like, hey, Vic,
yeah, and also
take all the humour out of Viz and make it shit. He says, "Well, I'll see what."
And also, they had just become the next big thing, so they had to get Summit out to cash in on it as well. So
the thing about that is like Bob Mortimer. He was on the show called Would I Lie to You, and he was doing this thing, and everyone says, "Oh, you're clearly lying. That's made up. There's no way you perform dentistry on yourself." He was doing this convoluted story. It's like, well, how do you do it? He says, well, I take my son's gaming chair because you can lean right back in it, and then I put that on the kitchen table, and then I get a mirror, and I sort of lean back, and he says he overheard the dentist talking about the brand name, like Fuji 50 or something, whatever the paste is used for doing fillings. So he gets the paste and puts it in himself, and he just does his own dentistry, and then he actually confirmed it was true. Now, I get a feeling it is true, but I get a feeling that he's probably embellishing the story.
It's not. It's not because the people they keep having on there, though, they keep having the same people, like David Mitchell and all that, and silly things like that. That amount of silly things can't happen to one person. So I just think that they're given a story. And it's either true or false. It didn't actually happen to them.
Cut from whole cloth.
Well, yeah. Obviously, because not that amount of silly things can happen to one person. If you look at the amount of programs they've been in.
Well, the bit which annoys me about that is when you...
I perform my own dentistry on my...
Rosie Jones used to write all the really funny jokes for 8 out of 10 Cats, and would I lie to you?
Is she on, I'm fat and northern, that's a bit.
No, I'm cerebral palsy and not funny.
Thing is, though, in our day, I think in our day we had Joey Deakin, didn't we? So it's just that's just what it is for the modern audience.
To be fair, I did watch Francesca Martinez. She has cerebral palsy, but she was funny.
She was an extra, wasn't it? And Grange Hill.
Oh, blimey.
Rosie Jones could have been Tim Vine.
I didn't. Hey?
Oh, Hobbit.
Vine.
So Rosie Jones could have been Tim Vine in A Love of Life.
It could have been.
Well, you see, the problem
I think anyone could be Tim Vine.
Oh, Interdimensional Listener says if it's Castle Rhea, that's pronounced Castle Ray.
There we go.
Yeah.
So,
I just looked up Cuckfield. It's not that far from me, but West Sussex is amazingly beautiful, most of it. I think Cuckfield.
Here's the thing, right?
Cuckfield is very close to Crawley.
I do lean in when I talk.
Which is...
But it's not just that. You also talk loud. This is as loud... I mean, I can talk louder, but it's going to do my head in if I talk like this.
So you're at the right level.
No, I prefer to talk at this level. People just have to...
So you should have a field trip to Cuckold.
Hobbit talks normally, but he has his back.
And investigate the ghost
really loud normally.
No, I talk normally, but I'm usually about this far away from the microphone, so that's why and also I have the gain on it turned all the way up as well. So yeah, so I just demonstrated to Hemi the optimal distance, but you see, the reason I do that is your pop filter is all... We're talking shop here, you see. Yeah. My pop filter is like a little... You know...
you got a pair of tights. Over a little.
No, it's not a pair of tights. Like, you know how you get when you're doing a frying pan and you put that mesh over it so it's... I've
got one of those somewhere.
Yeah, my pop filter is basically one of those. I put it in front of it. Well, the thing is, it helps when popping the plosives.
Yeah. Do you want a story from Gateshead in Durham? A council house in Bronte Street, occupied by the Coulthard family, was the scene of poltergeist activity.
Coulthard?
Might be. Activity in 1963 and 64. The exorcism was carried out... Exorcism was carried out by a local clergyman, but had no lasting effect. Ornaments were thrown, bottles smashed, slippers shot up from the floor, plates and crockery crushed down, and chairs and other objects were moved. Hobbit's playing with my screwdriver.
It's really cool. Right, so the viewers back home, right? Imagine you've got a revolver, you spin the cylinder... And
are you fed up of carrying loads and loads of drill bits around? Screwdriver tips around with you?
I'm trying to blow the hair out of my eyes.
You got a big pile of screwdriver tips in your arm.
It's all black and white. I've got pain in my lower back, but this is brilliant, right? So it's basically like you've got a cylinder, you spin it round for the drill bit you want, and then you push it forward. It's like, there's the drill bit, and does it light up?
Yeah.
Oh, it lights up as well.
It's only 3.6 volts, though.
Oh, so you can charge it via USB.
USB-C, yeah.
Ah, that's brilliant. I love it. How much talk has it got? Has it got enough talk?
Not a lot.
No.
It does all right though.
Right, it's for what you need.
From Holtwhistle in Northumberlandshire. Is that right? I thought Northumberland was the county.
Is it like Devon? Used to be called Devonshire.
Yeah, it is
like
Northumberland.
Huntingdonshire in Cambridge.
Is it?
I don't know. Near the remains of the old Roman wall, an entire phantom hunt used to be seen galloping past, terrifying the dogs and cats of the neighbourhood who would run for miles to get away from the spectral hounds. I saw an excellent name for a fruit machine the other day. It's called Pounds of the Baskervilles.
Oh no!
Very good.
So there's one here, right? And
was it written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle? Conan. Oh, go on.
So there's a story here.
Yeah,
right?
there we go.
And now, when you first read it, it says one thing, but then when you get to the
rum, Hobbit?
No, I'm good, thanks. I'm going to go Amish for the rest of this.
Yeah.
So
You two are having a piss up.
Pretty much. Well, we're having the national drink of Malta, which is Kinney diluted with rum. So here's a place called Sankey in Cheshire.
Sankey?
Yeah, it's 2 miles west of Warrington.
Mr. Sankey, the
so
Christmas poo.
There's a... He loves me, I love you, even if you're a Jew. So Buttermilk Bridge takes its name from the buttermilk sold by a lady to the navvies.
What?
Yeah. So, navvies is a strange word. It's like, they're diggers, they're excavators, they're men who've carved canals out of the ring, but they're called eternal navigations. Why would you call a waterway a navigation? But they did.
Oh, pubs on locks. There's a lot of pubs on canals that are called the navigation.
Oh well, maybe that's it then.
Yeah.
So anyway, but Buttermilk Lady, she sold buttermilk to navvies. Hers is a formidable ghost. Oh, I thought it said fortunate ghost, and one that is often seen. A figure wearing a black shawl with ghastly face and terrible cackling laugh. There's an entry just below it as well. And I'm just going to read it out. I'm not sure if the story's interesting or not. It's in Nottinghamshire, and the place is called Scrooby.
You're not finishing the Navy one?
Well, no, I did. That was
a
it.
Bit rubbish, wasn't it?
Well,
she's a formidable ghost. Woo! Is that it?
She's got a terrible cackling laugh. That's all you need to know. But anyway,
isn't it a way of navigating through the land? God of Big King of Dogs says.
Well, why would you call it navigate? Why don't you just call them like the canal men or the diggers? I mean, the ones in Australia, they were called diggers.
Bog trotters.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to say bog trotters.
What's wrong with bog trotters?
Bunnies.
Is this like when you're trying to tell me that spooks is some sort of slur against ghosts?
It's a slur against not ghosts but black people.
Neighbours.
Yeah.
It's a slur against CIA men.
Hey, they glow in the dark.
Is it me or just you say the word spook and literally everybody puts their hand up and go, it's a slur against me?
Like I choose to identify that as an insult. It's like, all right, more power to you, I guess.
Yeah. The castle is said to have been seen. Go on then. Have you two?
You finished yours.
Go on then, I'll start.
I got why witches fly on broom. I do witches. Why witches fly on
because the lead's not long enough on Hoover.
Well, it could be. We'll find out now. It says the evil green-skinned witch flying on a magic broomstick may be a Halloween icon and well-worn stereotype. The actual history behind how witches came to be associated with such an everyday household object is anything but dull. The earliest known image of witches on brooms dates to 1451, when 2 illustrations appeared in the French poet Martin de Franc's manuscript, The Champion des Dames, the Defender of Ladies. The association between witches and brooms may have roots in pagan fertility rituals in which rural farmers would leap and dance astride poles pitchforks, and brooms in the light of the full moon to encourage the growth of their crops. This broomstick dance became confused with common accounts of witches flying through the night on their way to orgies and other illicit meetings. So there you go, a bit of education for you.
Oh, but they did used to do it on...
I heard, though, it was because... that what they used to do was they would put some form of drug, magic mushroom or cocaine, whatever, onto the broomstick. Then they would rub their genitals on the broom, put the broom between their legs, and ingest the narcotic in that way. And that would make them fly. So I heard that theory.
It was ergot, which is incredibly poisonous and...
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Would
mess you up. Give you a fucking...
Oh, is it finally... Oh, it's not quite warm enough yet, though,
No,
is
it does that bit where it goes to that bit and then it will stay there for a while until it warms up thoroughly.
Yeah.
Lava lamp? Are you living in the 70s over there?
I've got a lava lamp in here and everything. It's all groovy.
Oh, well, we have a cocktail as well, so...
Oh, have you seen... Is Lord Lucan
in
the latest 14 times?
A fondue set. I've got it, but I don't think I got that far. I think I have brushed over that story, but is that the one about the lady in white ghost? Is it that one?
What have I got? December?
Well, no, is there a newer one
Lord
than that?
Lucan?
Is this like Where's Wally?
You know about Lord Lucan, don't you?
Yeah.
No, I don't know about.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do about Lord Lucan. The 1974 disappearance of Richard John Bingham, the 7th Earl of Lucan, after allegedly murdering the family nanny, remains one of Britain's most notorious unsolved cases. And also, if you look at Lord Lucan, he used to be one of the regular background puppets on Spitting Image. There's a picture of Lord Lucan. Do you recognise him now? He used to be one of the background puppets quite a lot in there.
That looks like Chris Morris when he was in the It Crowd. That's Mr. Renham.
Maybe he's Lord Lucan then. So anyway, he murdered the nanny and then off he fucked, and nobody's seen him since.
That's one does.
Yeah, he was a bit of a gambler, weren't he, Ian?
I just muted my mic because I was blowing my nose. Yeah, it was a bit of one of those rich cad type bloke, always drunk and rich.
It was the 14th Duke of Wimborne.
Yeah, exactly. I was very, very drunk. That kind of person.
Me, Lord Lucan, in the girls' school.
Murdering the nanny. But yeah. Good stuff. But yeah, who knows? It'll never be solved, that case. But quite interesting to follow up.
Yeah, we could.
You can have a look at it one week.
Review
it.
The latest 14 has got Lord Lucan in it, so maybe we could do a Lord Lucan episode.
You can have a look, yeah.
Because doesn't the smart money think he went to South Africa, don't they?
Well, he probably went abroad somewhere. But what about pouring poppy candy under my foreskin was the biggest mistake of my life? From that story.
What you got to do
is it's not really Halloween, is it?
Candy with Vicks Vapor Rub.
Ouch. Agatha Christie disappeared
all of a sudden,
didn't she? Remember that?
She did, yeah. That's quite well known. Yeah, she just went to a health spa for a few weeks or whatever. She had a bit of a nervous breakdown, but yeah, she didn't. That's not really much
just
of a mystery.
Look at some mysterious vanishes. Obviously, it's Dyatlov Pass. Dyatlov Pass that we need to do an episode on, I suppose.
Oh, what, Russia's...
that was a glacier, yeah.
You think so?
They say it may have been... One theory was it was a Bigfoot that killed them. Yeah.
Oh, well, they don't. I think they say it's more like a Wendigo, isn't it, than a Bigfoot?
A Russian cryptid.
Yeah, something...
Well, Wendigos are different, aren't they? They're a bit more...
Yeah, almasty.
Yeah, they got some spirits living there.
They were West lovers.
West life lovers.
What about this one then?
Oh, that's good.
Looking at the evidence of 2 Erdington murders, the detective might easily conclude he was looking for just one killer. Both victims were young women, 20 years old. Both women spent the last night dancing. Both women were killed on the same day of the year, May 27th. Both bodies were found in the same spot, and most telling the prime suspect in both cases was a man called Thornton. The only problem, the 2 murders occurred 157 years apart. Adding to this eerie coincidence, both Thorntons were acquitted, and so both murders remain still unsolved. How about that one?
Bastard.
So weird.
Yeah, what about this one, though? On November the 13th, 1974, 23-year-old Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr. murdered his entire family in their sleep. I watched, 1 year later.
Speaking of horror movies, I watched Halloween 2, not Halloween, Amityville 2 the other day. The acting is terrible, but it's a really, really good story.
It's a coincidence, because that's a bit spooky, because in this story, 1 year later, the Lutz family purchased the house in Amityville, New York, where the horror took place. George and Kathy Lutz then claimed they had experienced shocking paranormal phenomena in the house. Green flying oozing from the walls, a creature with red eyes.
One of the kids has now been doing the rounds on all the podcasts, hasn't he?
Did we do an episode on the Amityville?
Yeah.
No, we haven't done that yet.
We haven't. No, I've sort of got it.
Well, the Sun says that
a bit on paper to do.
That basically George Lutz took hold of everything, controlled everything, took all the money and that. But the kid also said that George Lutz was using Ouija boards and stuff in the house.
But did they work?
And the reason the family that moved in afterwards. So he said the reason the family that moved in afterwards didn't experience anything was because basically the spirits followed George Lutz because he was the one fucking around with a Ouija board.
Well, me and Dom fucked around with a Ouija board in the New Forest the other week, and nothing happened, didn't it? So,
well, we didn't say goodbye to the Ouija board, so.
Actually, I tell a lie. Actually, no. It did happen. Sorry, I got that wrong. Something did happen, didn't it? The monk appeared before us, but
it did. Yeah.
Right. So,
I've got a story.
Don't you think though don't you think there's something to do? Halloween is so spooky because we've all got jet lag because of the clocks changing.
That's relatively new. That's not like old, is it?
That's only dates back to World War One. Before people didn't bother with all this bollocks.
Yeah, no one cared about the Scottish before then.
Well, it was just understood. You get up when you get up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care what they say in Greenwich.
Nobody cared who the Scottish were.
Because Halloween goes back centuries, pagan times. It was actually the pagan Christmas.
Well, they say it's all
right.
New Year's because after it's where the realm between the two worlds is the thinnest. And no, New Year's isn't that.
Yeah.
New Year's is the 21st of December.
Because it's All Saints Day tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like
it's All Hallows Eve today and then All Saints Day tomorrow.
Yeah, because the Christians had to put their stamp on it, didn't they? Let's get rid of the old religions by making up our own holidays to just stick over the top of them,
and piss everyone off.
Well, and when they say with people, it's like, oh, let's become pagan like our ancestors. It's like, are you going to do the other thing our ancestors did, which was convert to Christianity? I mean, that's what those pagans did, right? I mean, the Normans were Vikings, and it was like, yeah, we accept Jesus Christ as the Lord and Saviour. Let's go and conquer England and make it terrible for centuries. That was their Christian mission, that was.
And hygiene and be oppressed. That's what they did as well, wasn't it?
William the Conqueror, avowed Christian, it's like, right, England's mine now. I'm going to bring in the you-know-whos. They're going to be allowed into England now.
God of Pig, King of Dog said I did read that he was on the moon with a double-decker bus. I think that's Lord Lucan, by the way.
Let Ian speak!
Well, we have got fish and chips, at least.
Oh, I had fish fingers with crispy seaweed and Peking duck. I was intrigued with the idea that I could have fish fingers and chips with Chinese. It was brilliant.
Hobbit, do you like fish stick?
My eyes were open. Yes, I like fish sticks in my mouth. Motherfucking gay fish.
You like the dicks of fish? Ah, you admit it. You said it, not me.
Yes, 100%.
Back to the horror and the spookiness. Jerome of Sandy Cove. On September the 8th, 1863, a frightening discovery was made on the beach of Sandy Cove in Nova Scotia. Alongside a large rock, a man with both legs amputated and only partially healed. Beside him was a jug of water, a tin of biscuits, and nothing more. What had happened to the man, we'll never know. The locals who took him in attempted to speak with him, even bringing in sailors of different nationalities to see if he would speak their language. But he said nothing. Aside from mumbling something that sounded like Jerome. Many tried to discover Jerome's real identity with a little luck. Some guessed his amputation was punishment for attempting a mutiny on a ship. Others speculated he was heir to a fortune and left on shore by someone hoping to get his inheritance. But with Jerome not able or willing to confirm or deny any theories, none could be proven. And he took his mysterious past with him when he died almost 49 years later.
I'm still looking at this ghost book that Hemmy's given to me, and I'm intrigued by one of the regional classifications here. South Midlands, which includes the counties of Buckinghamshire, Oxfordshire, Gloucestershire, Hereford and Worcester.
Yeah.
West Midlands, just the region of West Midlands, Warwickshire and North Ants.
You know what West Midlands is, don't you? That's like a conurbation. It's like Coventry, Birmingham.
What like they call London, London.
Yeah.
Wolverhampton,
Kent and
Coventry.
other places.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Warwickshire.
Yeah, so it's like, I think they treat it as like
Black
a
country.
conurbation, don't they?
Is it like with York,
Well,
where they...
It's where the scum above the south congeal.
Yeah. Oh, this one sounds quite
nice.
brilliant.
Let's see.
Edgar Allan Poe's death. Was it alcoholism, rabies, or a violent election day scam? More than 160 years later, the burning question remains: what killed Edgar Allan Poe?
Raven buggery.
Poe died of pooping. Sorry, cooping. Maybe he did die of pooping. Poe was discovered on election night outside Gunners Hall, a pop-up polling station for the day's events. Many believe the author fell prey to a bizarre brand of voter fraud from the 19th century known as cooping. Cooping gangs would kidnap a victim and strong-arm him into repeatedly voting for a candidate under different identities. Disguises were often involved, as was forced consumption of drugs or alcohol. Given Poe's strange costume, his woozy state and proximity to the ballot box, perhaps the author was duped in the name of bully democracy.
Oh.
God, just sniffing his own farts.
Yeah.
This is a story from a place I'm going to do this bit so God of Pig, King of Dog can appreciate my dulcet tones. Yes. So there's this little village near it says 4 miles east of Burford. Well, it's near Whitney because Burford is just a small town. But anyway,
well, there's more reasons that Edgar Allan Poe could have died, but I'll forget that.
Ravens.
I heard it was syphilis.
Pooping.
Yeah, pooping after eating ravens. He was interfering with ravens.
It was the beak.
The beaks, yeah. So there's a village called Minster Lovell, and there's a ruined hall. And what I find, even though the hall was ruined, the dovecote, there's still doves that exist there to this day. So there's just generations of doves. So this is open to the public, by the way. You can visit it if you can find a parking place, that is. It's haunted by the spirit of Lord Lovell, who unwisely chose to support the cause of the pretender Lambert Simmel In 1487, after the rebellion was quashed, Lord Lovell hid in a secret room, looked after by one servant, the only person to know his whereabouts. However, the servant died suddenly, and Lord Lovell's body was only discovered in 1718, which is what, 300 years later? Well, it's more than 300 years, so 1300. 400 years later, the structural alterations revealed the skeleton seat at the table and the bones of his dog at his feet. Now, Minster Lovell's quite interesting. You go there, and it's missing a roof, and it's missing part of the staircase because they emigrated. They moved house, so they took the house with them, or at least part of it, to Norwich.
They took the good bit.
It just imagine like the roads in like the 1700s, not too good, right? So imagine your transport. It's like, oh, we'll have the staircase. Yeah, let's transport the staircase on horse and bloody cart all the way from Oxfordshire to Norwich. Norwichshire?
Well, to be fair, they probably were they were the idle rich, so it really wouldn't. It's not their consequence, is it, to bear?
Norfolk. That would be
It's not
Norfolk,
their problem,
wouldn't it?
is it?
It's just the logistical magnitude of, yeah, can you take these 12 tons of rubble and then rebuild it in Norwich? So Minster Lovell Hall is now located in Norwich. Or parts of it, at least. The rest of it still remains in West Oxfordshire.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. America's. So how about this one
right.
then? Do you remember Roanoke? You ever heard of Roanoke, you people?
Roanoke, Mr. Bean.
Roanoke,
Oh.
the colony that disappeared in America.
Oh yeah. I think they ended up going to an island and they left a little inscription on the stone. Yeah.
Croatoan, didn't they? Croatoan, however you pronounce it.
So Katoa.
So
Yeah, it's basically
Go on then.
people colonists going in, the natives being pissed off with them and killing them, and then it happened a couple of times, I think.
So
Something along those lines.
the Aquacogox, they upset the Aquacogox apparently. So an expedition in 1585 had arrived at the island with a shortage of supplies. One of their ships hit a shoal and most of its food rations were ruined. They made initial contact with the Aquacogox tribe, but the relationship was shaky at best. At one point, the colonists accused their Native American neighbours of stealing a silver cup and set fire to the tribe's entire village in retaliation. Oh, okay. Naturally, the Aquacogox were angered by the colonists' attack and they ambushed the Roanoke fort. British colonists fended off the invasion, but when they received an offer from Sir Francis Drake to return to England on his ship, they immediately accepted and left the island less than 10 months after they'd arrived. So when a new group of settlers led by John White arrived a year later, they didn't realise there was already a history of bad blood between their countrymen and the native people. Unfortunately for them, the Aquacogox still had a taste for vengeance, and soon after the group's arrival, a colonist named George Howe was murdered by an Aquaskogok while crabbing. One bright spot in the settlement was the colonists' relationship with the friendly Croatoan tribe. But after Howe's death, they attempted a raid on their Native American enemies while it was dark outside and accidentally attacked the Croatoans instead. The botched attack made their situation in Roanoke more dangerous and unpredictable than ever. The colonists, including White's daughter Eleonora, her husband Ananias Dare, it's like Dan Dare but more anal, their infant daughter Virginia pleaded with their leader to return to England for supplies and reinforcements. They still had an ally in the Croatoan time, Chief Manteo, who had been baptised as Christian, but they all knew they couldn't survive the winter without help from England. Under protest, White led his group of settlers on Roanoke, not realising he would never see them again. For years, White tried to get back to the colony, but his plans were halted time and time again. The ships he chartered couldn't travel because of poor weather, and then the Anglo-Spanish War. Once he finally got out to sea, a group of Spanish ships took his supplies, forcing his crew to return to England. On August 18th, 1590, his granddaughter Virginia's third birthday, White finally returned to Roanoke. After all that, he found with 2 inscriptions. A post from the old fort, the word Croatoan had been carved, and on a nearby tree, the letters Crow, C-R-O. The settlement was simply gone. It disappeared. The houses and buildings had been dismantled by the colonists, suggesting the group left of their own free will. White had instructed them to carve a Maltese cross into a tree if they are threatened by force, but no such symbol was found. White translated the colonists' message to mean they had moved to Croatoan Island, now known as Hatteras Island, not far from Roanoke. He wanted to go look for them, but a dangerous storm was descending in the area, and he had to call off the search. White eventually returned to England, never knowing what happened to his family and their colony, a fact that has haunted him for the rest of his life. Attempts to uncover the truth behind the lost colony were inconclusive, and it's a mystery that still puzzles for historians today.
Woo!
Never be solved.
Also, there's a Roanoke region in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, is there?
Oh, is that the game where
What about
your bank robbers and stuff, but I won't hear any bad words said about them slaves. But I respect women's right to vote. Even though the 19th Amendment hasn't been ratified yet.
What about a fear of vampires spawned by consumption? During the 19th century, the spread of tuberculosis or consumption claimed the lives of entire families on Rhode Island, Connecticut, Vermont, and in other parts of New England. Before physicians were able to explain how infectious diseases were spread, hopeless villagers believed that some of those who perished from consumption preyed upon their living family members. This spurned a grim practice of digging up the dead and burning their internal organs. So there you go. That's where the vampire legend comes from.
Going on to our theme of monks and nuns going at it. Weston on the Green is in Oxfordshire, right? So Weston Manor Hotel was once a monastery, and Maud was a nun who made indiscreet visits to a monk here.
Dirty bitch.
Well, the problem is it was indiscreet.
Where's the soap? Where's the soap?
So she made indiscreet visits to a monk here from a convent nearby. One night, she was caught in the monk's cell and burnt at the stake in front of the monastery. The hotel was quite pleased about her haunting the place. She favours the best bedroom with its magnificent 4-poster bed, but no one knows the reason for a nickname, Mad Maud. Now, that's all the entry says about that, but if I was to hazard a guess, being burnt at the stake because you're having a fling with a nearby monk, I mean, that would lead someone to be a bit perturbed.
Yeah.
I wonder why they call him
Wild. I was livid. Do you remember that one from the 9 o'clock? Not the 9 o'clock news. Gerald the gorilla.
And he was a monk.
He says you were wild. Wild. I was livid.
Yeah. I do remember that actually. Yeah. Oh, I'm hot now.
Great days of alternative comedy.
Yes, it's an alternative to comedy. Well, you see, we have an alternative to comedy now. What they do is the comedians. You see, that's the funny joke because we call them comedians, but they're not funny in the slightest. They go up on stage, they lecture you about how you're evil, and then they get applause because that's the new laughter is applause.
And either that or it's Rosie Jones. Rosie Jones who lectures you about fuck knows what, and then you all applause.
I think there was a thing. John Oliver did a sketch where he was saying some jokes, and then people were laughing, and then he got really angry with them, saying, "No, you're not supposed to laugh. You're supposed to applaud." And it's like, oh yeah, that teaches the audience. Yeah, lecture the audience on what they're supposed to do when they come and see a comedian. Woe betide someone goes to see a stand-up act and laugh.
But do we have alternative comedians anymore? Like, is Peter Kay an alternative comedian, would you say?
Well, it's mainstream, isn't it?
Or Michael McIntyre.
What's the alternative to?
Yeah, because it used to be Ben Elton was.
Yeah, but the alternative these
Ben
days
Elton was an alternative
which won't get a gig because they said a rude word once and that upset people. Imagine you've gone to a comedy stand-up, someone told a blue joke, and now you're upset about
it. Which brings us
Alexi Sale was an alternative comedian.
I always like that when Roy Chubby Brown at the start of his thing says, "If you don't like it, you've already bought the ticket, so fuck off."
Do you remember, I watched one of his later stand-ups and it was quite sad. Like, it really wasn't funny at all.
I don't think it's ever been funny. It's just extreme.
I think Jimmy Carr carries that torch these days.
Now, what about the time?
The alternative comedian.
When Roy Chubby Brown was the mayor of
Royston Vasey, which is actually his real name.
He managed to get through that entire thing without saying fuck or bugger once.
Fucking pleasure.
It's been a fucking pleasure. Yeah.
When they were all taking the special stuff.
Oh yeah, you got some of that special stuff.
Which brings us to our joke of the evening. What kind of wood don't float?
A Natalie Wood.
So Natalie Wood was on a yacht with her husband Robert Wagner.
Hang on.
Gone.
We just had a strongly worded letter from the Autism Committee saying, "I'll have you know that lignum vitae is a type of wood that is so dense it actually sinks in water."
So anyway, Natalie Wood was on a yacht with her husband Robert Wagner and also Christopher Walken, and nobody knows how she died. It's a mystery. Woo!
Well, doesn't Christopher Walken know?
I don't know. The rumor is that Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken were busy at the time.
Oh.
They were busy doing other things.
Travelling to...
They were playing leapfrog and apparently not very good at it.
Oh yeah, they keep falling.
Busy travelling to Epstein's Island.
But anyway, no one knows why Natalie Wood had to die. But I don't know. Maybe Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken know. Maybe they do. But who knows? Who knows for what reason she died?
It's a fucking mystery.
It's a fucking mystery.
What's the chat saying?
Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween, or as goths call it, amateur night.
Why don't you put this window on the other screen? And then
Dave Gorman was an alternative comedian because he used PowerPoint on stage.
Oh yeah, Dave Gorman with his slides and the miles per Dave
Google
Gorman.
Whack. Google Whack was a good one as well.
I liked his miles per Dave Gorman. That was...
Oh yeah, I'm Dave Gorman. Is it I'm Dave Gorman? That was his first show, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was his mate said, "Well, how many Dave Gormans?" He says, "Well, as many pack of cards. So I want you to find 52 Dave Gormans." Hey, here's a question, right? Now, I'm put this out to the audience. The most popular name in England used to be John Smith. It's probably Mohammed now. So
it is Mohammed, but they split the spellings up so it doesn't look as obvious.
John Smith. There's, I think at the last count I saw, 415,000 in the United Kingdom. Have you met a John Smith? Because I've never met a John. I thought I met one, but actually his name turns out to be James Smith.
We've had this conversation before, and I work with one.
You do?
Yeah, but I know a lot of Johns, a lot of Smiths, but the two are never married.
It's weird. Like,
and why is nobody called Tom, Dick, or Harry these days?
What about the former Labour leader who died? Him, John Smith.
Really? Oh. Yeah, but I don't know that John Smith, do I? I haven't seen it.
No one's called Tom, Dick, or Harry's because of the immigrants.
Well, they should be called Tom, Dick, or Harry. Your name's Toby.
Yeah.
What about is there anyone called Mike?
Tom, Dick, and Abdul, as John Gordon used to say. Who else have we got here? How about the Zodiac Killer? Wasn't the Zodiac Killer or Ted Cruz hasn't been caught, has he? You remember they used to say Ted Cruz was the Zodiac Killer?
No, yeah, they figured his no, they figured it out. figured him out.
That was that TV series, weren't there? The Zodiac. I don't think I watched all of them.
There you go. Lava lamp's working now.
Nice, like the 70s. And have you got a doobie on the go to get you in the mood?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll listen to some Puff Daddy later on.
Listen to some Hendrix.
They will listen to one of two of Puff Daddy's really famous songs.
Vote or Die.
Oh, that's a mystery. No one knows who killed Tupac Shakur, do they? Oh, apparently someone's in court next year for the shooting Tupac Shakur, aren't they?
I think they
go silent on me now. I've
Yeah.
shown you my godlord.
I don't know.
Respond.
I don't know if they are.
Yeah, apparently someone is.
Some bastard. Let's see then. Have we got something more Halloween? Let's have
how
a
about
look.
the mystery of the Circleville letters? In 1976, residents of Circleville, Ohio, began receiving threatening mail that has haunted them ever since. The letters were from Columbus but had no return address. They accused the school bus driver, Mary Gillespie, and the school superintendent of having an extramarital affair. One of the letters was even addressed to Mary's husband, Ron, that threatened his life if he didn't put a stop to the affair. In 1977, Ron died in a suspicious one-car crash that involved gunshots. However, when the sheriff ruled the death an accident, other residents of Circleville began receiving letters accusing the sheriff of covering up the so-called accident. Ron's sister's husband, Paul Freshaw, was convicted of writing the letters after there was an attempt to murder Mary via booby-trap rigged pistol. Even after he was thrown behind bars, the Circleville letters continued through the 70s and 80s. Freshaw even received one in prison. In 1994, Freshaw was released and he claimed his innocence until his death in 2012. The true identity of the Circleville letter writer remains unknown.
Dun, dun, dun.
And was Fresher in his first year of university?
It's Fresh Hour. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's Fresh Hour.
Fresher.
Fresh Hour.
Fresher's Beer. Yeah. Fresher's Beer, where they give you pot noodles and things.
Oh, how about the Axeman of New Orleans? Do you know about that one?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Starting in 1918, over a period of 18 months, the city of New Orleans was haunted by a serial killer known as the Axeman. The Axeman used a gun to kill... No, he didn't. He used an axe to kill people. The Axeman was a personification of the bogeyman, only attacking at night, and rumoured to be responsible for 12 attacks and 6 deaths. To make this mystery even more chilling, he seems to only creep on his victims while they slept. Oddly enough, the Axeman never used his own tools and only used what he could find in the victim's house, usually an axe. Hence the name Axeman.
Hey, it is one.
That makes sense. Yeah.
This is a spooky ghost story from my favourite place in England. It's in Leicestershire. And it's the town, or is it a village, of Husbands Bosworth.
Husbands Bosworth village.
So the bowroom of the Bosworth Hall is haunted by a Victorian maidservant. In 1881, the house belonged to Sir Francis Fortescue-Turville.
Fucking hell, that's the name of it.
Fortescue-Turville. Fortescue-Turville, a Catholic, who married a Protestant widow, Lady Lisgar. You know, they got this thing saying that if you're Catholic and Protestant, they have to be buried in separate graves.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have Catholics buried in a Protestant grave.
Yeah, because the churchyard's different.
Yeah. I mean,
unless they go to a civic...
Oh, well, no, you want to go to a proper grave, don't you?
Yeah.
You want the Catholics to pray so that you get into heaven. She refused to call a priest to administer the last rites at what, bitch? Last rite on the deathbed of a Catholic maidservant, and so the maid spirit remains earthbound there. An alternative version says that the ghost is the remorseful Lady Lisgar. There is also a bloodstain said to be the relic of an incident in the Cromwellian times when a Jesuit priest was celebrating Mass and Roundhead troops came to the house. The priest made for a secret hiding place, but in his haste he spilt the consecrated wine and cut his head on the chalice. Blood and wine mingled to make a stain that never dries.
Oh.
I think I'll have to go visit Husband's Bowsworth one of these days, because, I mean, the name itself is fascinating. Like, let's go to Husband's Bowsworth.
The majority of the Axeman's victims were Italian immigrants or Italian Americans, leading many citizens of New Orleans to believe the crimes were ethnically motivated. Many media outlets drew frenzy from the aspect of the crimes, even suggesting mafia involvement, despite the pure lack of evidence, other than he was killing Italian Americans. Other crime analysts have suggested the Axeman killings were related to sex, and that the murder was perhaps a sadist, specifically seeking female victims. Other theories include that the Axeman killed the male victims only when they blocked his attempts to murder women, supported by cases in which the woman of a household was murdered but not the man. The less likely theory is that the killer committed the murders in an attempt to promote jazz music. Okay.
That makes sense, yeah. Yeah, freestyle. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a bit of a...
He was freestyling.
Could have been a necrophile.
Yeah. But
it sounds like he may have been a necrophile.
Was rumoured to write, which stated he'd spare the lives of those who played jazz in their homes. Axeman was never identified, but the murders remain unsolved.
Yeah. Well, maybe he was... He was likened to doing like a 20-minute piano solo or something.
Willy Bum Bum, husband.
But roundhead though. A roundhead though is a slang for a circumcised dick, isn't it?
Yeah. Are you a roundhead or a cavalier?
Cavalier, yes, myself.
Started up. Mysterious drowning of Natalie Wood again.
Again, the same story twice. Would you like why
Jimmy
Mary
Hoffa?
Sherry?
What happened to Jimmy Hoffa then?
Hang on. He kicked the bucket. But why Mary Shelley carried her dead husband's heart? How about this one?
Nice.
Frankenstein author Mary Shelley is world renowned for her terrifying.
She was married to Byron, weren't she?
You know, she was.
Shelley
Yeah, she was.
Her husband,
she was. I think she was. Yeah, there was a bit of a Bill Wyman type age gap going on, I believe.
Oh,
as well.
There? Was he Bill Wyman in it? Was he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I only remember the Shelleys from what's that? Do you remember Frankenstein Unbound? Do you remember they made a book of that? Made a film of that? Aren't you not?
Wasn't it?
I've read stuff by Brian Aldiss, but I can't name any of his books. One of my favourite British sci-fi authors is Peter Hamilton.
I like Kim Newman because he likes annoying Mark Kermode. He tells Mark Kermode that Exorcist 2 was the best film he's ever watched because Mark Kermode hates it.
Did you know Garth Marenghi's still writing books?
No, I never
he does tours.
Well, he's more a writer than anything.
It was good.
But Dark Place was turned into a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Garth Marenghi's Dark?
It was the other way round, though, wasn't it? The show came first, and then he actually released proper books and does lecture tours now, reading his books in a short sort of a
revisionist. So he's got this fanciful story of how he left school with 2 A levels and became the world's most celebrated horror writer, and has been writing time since the 1980s.
He's basically a pastiche of a trash horror writer, isn't it? James Herbert type writer type.
Stephen King and James Herbert, but and therefore I like him.
Oh.
Well, you know what? If Ian can hear, then I'm loud enough, and I'm just going to say, if people in the chat can't hear me, then I'm sorry, but you won't be able to hear me say that.
What? Why is because they never caught the murder in the O.J. Simpson case, did they?
I wonder who was the murderer in the O.J. Simpson case. Now, if you're listening on the wireless, you won't see where my finger's pointing there, but Hemi, straight to the chat where my finger's pointing right now.
Look, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah, that's right. If the bitch can't squeal, then my client must go.
Whoa, spooky murder. Whoa, spooky murder. Nobody knows who did it.
We'll never figure it out.
Whoa, nobody knows. Does anybody know who killed?
So what are you two doing?
If anybody can provide
what are you two doing
that
after
leads
the
to
show?
the arrest and imprisonment of Nicole Brown Simpson's killer, can they please let the show know?
Yes.
He's dead now, though, isn't he? So there's not much. Not much
whoa!
So you two go.
Whoa! Well, he's found not guilty, Ian. What are you talking about?
In a civil court, he was found guilty, though, wasn't he? When he had a civil trial.
How does that work?
You two off to the boozer after the pub?
No, I think we're off to bed, aren't we?
Pretty much.
No?
I've had enough run.
But it's early.
What
Haven't you got a local to go to?
What are you talking about, Willis?
I'm an old man. I want to go to bed.
Yeah. Separate beds, that is. We're not Rod, Jane and Freddie.
No. Well, I was thinking watching Roger Rabbit later, but that can wait.
When Dom comes to visit me, we go out and we go on a piss up in Reading.
Garage, doesn't he?
Do you top and tail?
No, he sleeps downstairs on the
home bed. There's a lot of stuttering went on then.
he had to think about that.
We sleep on separate floors.
Does Dom spoon you while you're asleep?
When the gas man comes over and asks, "How do you keep it so warm in here?" Do you tell him it's you make love to one another instead of yourselves?
Yeah, we tell him that. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
How about a spooky airplane disappearance? Malaysia Airlines flight 370. That was spooky.
Oh.
Is that the one where they get? Oh no, it wasn't that one.
Yeah, isn't that the one? There was a bunch of.
Go for it then. That one.
They were going to a conference on infectious diseases.
No,
and then a few years later, the Panda Pops thing happened.
No, I think Flight 370 was where the pilot turned off all the tracking gear, didn't he?
Yeah, that's a normal thing to do.
Yeah, he was having a normal one.
That's not suspicious in the slightest.
No. Also, there was loads of fuck-ups in the initial stages, weren't there? So they're probably looking in the wrong area, they think, don't they? I remember people saying that at the time.
I just found it was like, it's not the first flight where a team of microbiologists were on it and they all got killed. I mean, I remember there was this conspiracy theory back in the 2010s and sort of late 2000s talking about the mysterious case of microbiologists being killed across the world and dying in suspicious circumstances like car crashes and murders and plane crashes. And then, you know, we've got the infectious diseases, which are all the rage these days. Don't know what that's about. And of course, I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't draw any conclusions because this is YouTube. So we love our democratically elected government. They're safe and effective.
Yeah. What else we got here?
Well, we got time for unexplained histories, haven't we?
Do you want to do some unexplained histories, Ian?
I love unexplained histories.
Yeah, let's do unexplained histories. What do we got? Let's see.
Look.
There is some. Let's have a look. There is some Loch Ness news, actually.
There's quite a bit, actually, in unexplained histories, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, you seen this weird alien egg sacs pulled out of the canal in Netherlands?
Yeah, what happened?
This is Speed Reader, so it gets rid of all the garbage.
Right. Yeah, cool. That looks like print-friendly mode.
Yeah, it's a Speed Reader. It's part of Brave.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to turn it on.
Yeah. Ooh. So,
do you want me to read it out? It's got science words in it.
Go on then, you can read it a bit.
Right, so what on earth is this? Image credit is some Dutch name which sounds like clearing your throat from phlegm. Clusters of strange egg-like objects are recently hauled out of the water. You have your mouse on sensitive.
Yeah.
By volunteers in the city of Utrecht.
Utrecht.
I am from Maastricht.
My friend Ronald.
Hello, he is also my lover. Resembling the eggs found by the crew of the Nostromo in the 1970s.
Except they don't.
No, they don't.
They just look like omelette.
Yeah. science fiction horror classic Alien, these peculiar egg sacs were recently discovered in the waterways of Utrecht in the Netherlands. This was hanging on the bottom of a floating island, volunteers who made the discovery wrote. So what exactly are these? Known as waterbag bryozoans, these egg-like structures are in fact colonies of tiny...
So they knew when they wrote the headline that they weren't aliens.
This is clickbait. These are in fact colonies of tiny organisms that individually measure a mere millimetres in length. The bags can reach up to 2 metres in size and will typically be found attached to other objects. Bryozoans are not native to the Netherlands, instead originating from the east coast of the United States. They were first discovered in Europe during the 19th century. Though invasive, they are not thought to be harmful to the local environment. In this case, the volunteers simply had to put them back where they found them. Great. So that was a really well done and explain who wrote this one. Because scroll up.
That's pretty much an explained mystery, isn't it?
That is, TK Randall, go fuck yourself. You're not appreciated.
She's at it again.
TK Randall, I do not appreciate you.
Oh, the witches are at it again with the US election.
Oh God, what is it with witches and being cringe? Is there like they're cursed to be like so cringe you die from secondhand embarrassment? What about entrance to the underworld?
What about this one then from the Metro? This is from the Metro newspaper from the 17th of September. Had the following headline: bloke swimming across Loch Ness touched by something big underwater.
Ooh.
So let's see what we got.
Was it you, Ian?
Loch Ness. We'll find out now, won't we? The infamous Loch Ness monster could actually be real.
Was Pete Diddler seen buying a plane ticket to Lake Ness?
We'll see.
Was Pete Diddler asking for tree fitter?
About tree fitter.
About tree fitter.
He needs £100 for drugs and whores.
That's the going rate.
One man has said Nessie brushed up against him while swimming. Duncan Roberts, 39, had the terrifying encounter when he was swimming in the chilly waters of the famous loch. He said, "There was something big. During my swim, I experienced a bump halfway across.
Ooh.
There's some weird energy at play in the water. The depth and darkness of that water plays tricks with your mind. The water is pitch black, and I had my eye exactly. Or your wetsuit. You shit your wetsuit, and you'd be all squidged up inside. So the water is pitch black, and I had my eyes closed a lot of the time, as the depth and the darkness is.
Well, what you do in that situation? You do what Gary Lineker did. You fall over in a puddle on your bottom when you get out.
How does that work?
That disguises.
I just felt it. A big thud. A big thud in the chest. I think anyone who swims in the deep part of the loch is lying if they said they haven't thought about the monster. I was focused on getting across as quickly as possible, so the hit was a shock. I was really nervous before the swim. If I knew something was going to bump into me halfway across, I definitely would have had second thoughts. Robert continued, I live in Australia and surf all the time, often with great white sharks. I was more scared of getting in the Loch Ness water. It's one of the toughest things I've ever done mentally. I flew all the way from Australia, so it would have been tough to back in. And then he's gone on to say, there's definitely moments of awe and beauty as I caught glimpses of the length of the loch whilst I was taking breath during my swim, but I wanted to get to the other side of Urquhart Bay. Swimming into the castle shores was pretty magical. To top it all off, Duncan climbed Ben Nevis afterwards, and then got a tattoo of Nessie to remember getting touched by the beast. But there you go. So it is real. He did, yeah. But Nessie is female, so exactly.
I've been nunced by a Nessie, touched by an angel. There's a Nessie playing with my balls, yeah.
You haven't, Hobbit, but you have had a ghost in your room, haven't you?
Yeah, that was.
You said you had a ghost.
It was an evil presence in the corner of my room, and it was the most. Yeah, it was the most terrifying experience of my life, and I'm glad it's never been repeated, and I hope it never does.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. Paralysed with fear. Well, I say paralysed with fear. I was still able to move.
You couldn't move.
Want to. It was one of those things.
Should have run out of there.
No, I didn't. I basically started screaming until my mum and dad came in. It's like, what? Why are you screaming? And I explained to them what had happened. They said it was a nightmare. I was like, but I've been awake all this time. I've been awake.
Was the present
with
still there?
On.
Or was the president still there when the lights were switched on?
No, eventually it dissipated.
Or did he?
Oh, sorry, I just saw this headline. We read it last week called "The Mystery of the Secret Entrance to the M5," and it's not. It's
an access door.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Looking at that, there's been loads of Nessie ones, but we've saved them for you.
Well, I can do another one. Let's see. Do you want another one? Let's have a look. This is from the Daily Mirror, 23rd of September. Loch Ness monster hunters given fresh hope after canoeist thumped in mystery encounter.
Ooh.
It would appear that another physical encounter with the monster. So let's have a look. A dad and son felt massive thumps on the bottom of their canoes from a big object in the murky depths of Loch Ness. Experienced guide Jeff Potts and his son Chris had the scary encounter on the lake famous for the mystical Loch Ness monster earlier in September. The pair were paddling in separate canoes on the loch when both of them were hit hard from below. The impact was so sudden it nearly knocked the paddle from Chris's grip. Comes days just after it was reported that swimmer Duncan Roberts, that we've just covered, was hit in the chest by the mystery creature whilst crossing the loch. Jeff, 53, and Chris, 24, have canoed there many times, and have never had such an encounter before with the canoe being hit so hard from below. Jeff said, I guide canoe trips in the Great Glen. I've done around 40 or so in the last few years. A few weeks ago, while I was out with my son Chris, something bumped the bottom of my canoe hard from below, and when I mentioned it to Chris, he said he hit something with his paddle, which nearly took it out of his hand. So, I didn't see anything, it just felt like a big thump against the bottom of the boat. I've completed around 40 crossings since 2021, including the first recorded non-stop solo crossing that I'm aware of in an open canoe. He added that the impact felt different to hitting a log. Loch Ness has an impressive presence about it, and it's meant to be and it's huge, he said. As I've completed it so many times, it was confusing to get a thud, which sounded so dull. I've hit logs before, but it was nothing like hitting wood. You immediately wonder what it was, but the water's so dark you can only see a foot or so down. My son Chris has his own business running trips like this, and he has never experienced anything like it either.
Ooh.
So that is very peculiar.
Shit your pants.
Now, what I would have done there, he hit it with a yawl. Now, basically, keep the yawl out of the water and go and get it forensically examined.
Yeah.
Get some DNA off it, some cells. Mystery solved.
Maybe it already had some of his DNA on it.
But they didn't do that. They didn't think it through.
You heard about this one?
Didn't fucking
Loch
think
Ness
it through,
skipper,
did he?
A veteran Loch Ness skipper and his colleague recently picked up something very strange on sonar. Could there be something large lurking in the depths of Scotland's most voluminous loch? The crew of a Loch Ness cruise vessel certainly seem to think so, and they even have evidence to back it up. During a recent trip across the loch, Sean Sloggy and Liam Mackenzie of Cruise Loch Ness managed to pick up evidence of something large moving deep beneath them. Described by Sloggy as the biggest thing he'd ever seen, it was even bigger than his penis. The object, whatever it was, seemed to be situated approximately 100 metres beneath the surface of the water. The strangeness of it was chilling. It's the sort of thing that leaves you speechless, he said. We've seen all sorts of fish that shouldn't be here, but this was different. We're not sonar experts, but I've never seen anything like it. The pair returned to the same location in an effort to pick up the same thing again, but found nothing. So could they have found evidence of the Loch Ness monster? Who knows?
Well,
So
can we show the picture to the viewers? Because
oh, hold on.
There should be a picture there of what they saw under the water, and the viewers can have a look as well, and we can decide what we think about it all. It's very peculiar, and if it's a living creature, then it's something unknown.
Hold on 1 sec, because they've found another one as well about a week later.
Really, I was unaware of the one they found a week later, but run through that one here.
I'll do that one next. Once this starts playing ball. No, it would show it, but it's been a gimp.
Tech problems. What I did find lately was some people who had found the remains of Frank Still's pier. So he've actually built a jetty in Loch Ness. And yeah, there's still some remains of it there, and they actually found it. So that would be good. Look at one week.
I've got the Daily Mail article about it. Right, so here we go.
Yep. So there's another sonar.
So there's that sonar image,
which I was only aware of. That is the one which looks a bit like a long-necked creature, doesn't it?
It's Super Scramble, isn't it?
Could be. There we go.
Ian, do you remember Scramble?
Look, there it is. Yeah,
it looks like a specky game.
Just have the Space Invaders, wasn't it?
You had to like fly east or west whilst dodging.
Yeah, Super Scramble.
Oh, yeah,
that's the game.
You go horizontal.
The only game I remember on it.
Oh, you missed the.
Ant Attack, Lemmings, and
Whoa.
Turbo the Tortoise.
Yeah. And Hungry Horace.
Get the next one up.
There's another sonar image, but that image, we could look at that. See, there is some kind of long appendage coming out from the front of that, which could well be a neck.
Long neck. Oh, we're nearly done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, here we go. Here's the
long neck, 4 flippers.
Another underwater anomaly has been detected in Loch Ness. Here you go. I'll copy this one, Ian. I'll give this. You can read this one.
Let's have a look then.
And then I'll put the story up. I'll just put it in general.
See.
I'll put it up on the screen.
Put it in words, general.
So this is. Oh, that would be the big thing there, Robert. So
big beast. And so another underwater
anomaly.
Another underwater anomaly has been detected in Loch Ness. This one's not as good. Let's have a look then. Oh, it actually doesn't look too bad. Loch Ness research vessel has picked up a significant underwater presence in the depths of Loch Ness. Just a few days after Loch Ness skipper Sean Bloggy captured the object on sonar. The Loch Ness Centre's deep scan cruise vessel, I think I may have been on that actually, has reported the detection of a peculiar underwater anomaly that nobody has been able to explain. The vessel, which is equipped with sophisticated radar technology, picked up something strange approximately 200 meters below the surface between Urquhart Castle and Fort Augustus on October the 3rd. The fact that the two anomalies have been detected in Loch Ness within the space of a week makes it an intriguing find indeed. These radar readings have raised many questions about what lurks in the depths of Loch Ness, said Loch Ness Centre and General Manager Naga Ishrak, who is obviously after the publicity. Our deep scan cruise has consequently aimed.
Loch Ness Centre, is that one of your friends? Is it?
Well, no, I think it's a charity and it's been done up. No, he's got something to do with it. He's probably having a cut of the profits. But I went there 2 years ago, and it is a good place. But when I was there, it was very run down, and it was a shame. But since then, it has had a lot of investment, and it's much better now. So it'd be good to go back and see. But some parts, and I'm not shitting about, some parts of it were held together by tape when I was there. It was a real thing. It was no shit. Some of the exhibits were like taped together, but there's some really good stuff there. I did show some of it on the video I did, didn't I, at the time? I
So
didn't here.
but
anyway,
then is that something hitting the bottom? Then is it?
It looks like yeah, that's probably Nessie landing on the bottom of the lake and doing something there.
Unless he did a big dump and it landed on.
Yeah, dirty dog. Yeah, so that's what happened there. So there's a Loch Ness roundup, pretty good.
Has Dom passed out?
It's all good stuff. I don't know. Are you there, Dom? You got the Ouija board? Can we contact him?
He's not there. I think he's passed out.
He's gone.
So, Hobbit's moaning and groaning. So I think we're done.
Is he? You got bad guts after the all you can eat.
Look,
what's up? You're not sulking, are you?
2 hours. Fuck off.
So I guess it's good night for
if that's it
for me, and stay spooky.
Woo!
Stay spooky on the spookiest night of the year when the veil is thinnest between the two
realms.
Of our world and the next, Vincent Price might go
and Michael Jackson go hee hee. I'm not like the other boys.
And then touch them.
And then Pete Diddler would be like, no fat bitches at my free cons.
Right, so that's us done.